Ever feel like your thoughts are, secretly pulling the strings in your life?
Mm.
Like you're maybe on autopilot, and the scenery isn't always what you'd hoped for. What if you could actually grab hold of those strings
Yeah.
uh, and steer yourself somewhere new?
That's such a great way to put it, and that's exactly the territory we're exploring today. We're doing a deep dive into the ideas of Florence Scovel Shinn.
Right.
Her book, The Game of Life and How to Play It, came out almost 100 years ago, believe it or not.
Wow, really? A century ago?
Yeah, but her insights, still incredibly powerful for understanding how our inner world, our thoughts, our mindset really shapes our outer experiences.
It's all about that link, isn't it? Between what we think and say and then what actually, happens in our lives.
Exactly, the connection is key.
It is amazing how relevant her work still feels. So our mission today really is to pull out Shinn's core ideas, distill them down.
You get to the practical stuff.
Yeah, actionable guidance for you, the listener. We want to help you understand how you can consciously influence your own life's path by grasping the power in your own thoughts and words.
And we've got some great excerpts from her book to guide us.
Perfect. So where do we start? Let's get into Shinn's main idea, that creative power of our words and thoughts. It's a concept that really makes you stop and think,
I
doesn't
think
it?
it really does. Shinn's fundamental point is that every single experience you have, good or maybe challenging, it starts inside.
Inside.
In your thoughts, the words you use, even if you're not fully aware of it sometimes. What's really striking is how direct she makes that link. Your inner state and your outer world.
It's like your internal chatter sets the scene for your external reality.
That's a good way to think about it, yeah.
And that leads us right into what she calls the law of expectancy, which sounds a bit like you get what you expect, good or bad.
Precisely. Your dominant expectations, your assumptions about how things will turn out, they act almost like a blueprint.
A blueprint.
Yeah.
Okay.
And your subconscious mind, according to Shinn, works diligently to build that reality based on the blueprint you give it. It's not just, thinking positive thoughts superficially.
Right. It's deeper than that.
She presents it as a core mechanism. There's this really compelling example she uses about a woman who was just really unhappy with her job.
Oh, yeah. I remember reading about that. She was stuck in this negative loop.
Yeah.
Right? Complaining all the time, focusing on the bad stuff.
Exactly. And no surprise, her situation just stayed frustrating. But then, and this is the crucial part, she deliberately changed her tune. She shifted her speech.
Okay. So how did that work? What did she do differently?
Well, what makes the example so useful, so practical, is that instead of just wishing things were better, she actively started affirming what she wanted.
So less complaining about the present.
And more positive declaration about the future she desired, consciously changing her language.
And the result.
A new job materialized, a much better position, actually. It just shows how intentionally shaping our thoughts and words can genuinely lead to, real-world changes.
It's a fantastic illustration of that core idea. Okay, so building on this. Expectation, faith. Shinn talks a lot about faith, but maybe not in the way people usually think of it.
Right. For her, faith isn't passive hope. It's more like an active trust.
Active trust.
Yeah, trust that what you're seeking, what you desire, is actually available. It's already there, in a sense, waiting for you to align with it.
That's interesting. So it's a dynamic source.
Exactly, a dynamic force. And she contrasts it really sharply with doubt. Doubt, in her view, is like a roadblock.
It blocks things.
Blocks opportunities, yeah. Well,
Okay.
certainty, that conviction. It's like the key that unlocks the door.
Hmm. And this certainty, this deep belief, that's how we impress the subconscious mind, as she put it.
That's the mechanism, yes. It's like you're giving your subconscious very clear, very compelling instructions, almost like...
Like planting a seed. You plant the seed of belief and it grows into your reality.
That's a perfect analogy. Your subconscious is incredibly powerful, right? And it operates on the beliefs you consistently feed it.
So feed it clear, positive expectations.
And it starts almost automatically orchestrating things to match those beliefs.
And her main tool for doing this feeding, this impressing, is affirmations.
Yes, affirmations are central, but, and this is important, it's not just about rattling off phrases like a robot.
Right, there has to be more to it. Otherwise, everyone would just repeat things and get whatever they wanted.
Exactly. Shinn really hammers home the role of feeling, emotion.
Feeling it.
You need to say the affirmations out loud consistently, yes, but you need to feel them. Embody the emotion. Vividly imagine and feel the reality of already having what you're affirming.
So the stronger the feeling, the deeper the impression.
Precisely. The stronger that emotional connection, the more powerfully it imprints on your subconscious.
She gives that example for financial stability, doesn't she? I am abundantly provided for. Money comes to me easily.
Yes, that's one of them. But like you said, the real juice comes from feeling that abundance, actually picturing what that security looks like, feels like in your day-to-day life.
Got it. So belief, feeling,
Hmm.
impressing the subconscious makes sense. But what about the things that get in the way? Like fear.
Fear. Yes, he tackles that head on, calls it a major obstacle.
That feeling, that knot in your stomach. How does she define it?
Her definition is striking. She calls fear faith inverted.
Faith inverted, meaning
Meaning you're basically believing in a negative outcome just as strongly, just as faithfully as you might believe in a positive one. It really reframes it, doesn't it?
it really does. So
Yeah.
when you're gripped by fear, you're actually using that same creative power.
But you're directing it towards what you dread. Like if you're constantly worried about losing your job, obsessing over it.
Those anxious thoughts could actually sort of pave the way for it to happen by maybe causing mistakes or creating that negative energy.
That's the idea. You can inadvertently create the conditions for the thing you fear most.
Okay, so what's the antidote? How do we deal with fear when it crops up?
Shin's advice is very direct, practical, again, she says. Immediately redirect your focus.
Redirect.
The moment a fearful thought pops up, consciously shift your attention, move it towards positive affirmations and vivid mental pictures of the outcomes you actually want.
So you actively choose where your mental energy goes.
Exactly, it's a conscious choice.
Like if you're nervous about, say, a big presentation.
Instead of replaying disaster scenarios in your head,
Yeah.
you picture yourself nailing it, speaking confidently, the audience engaged.
Yes, and you back that up with affirmations like, I handle every challenge with ease, or I communicate clearly and effectively.
Right. So you starve the fear and feed the confidence.
You got it. You diminish fear's power and create a mental space that's much more receptive to success. Now, building on this, let's talk about something many find comforting. Divine timing.
Yes. The idea that things happen when they're supposed to, which is great in theory, but, well, it's easy to get impatient, isn't it, when things don't happen on our schedule? Oh, absolutely. We all want things yesterday. But Shin offers reassurance here. She suggests there's an ideal, sort of divinely orchestrated timing for everything to manifest.
So delays aren't necessarily a no.
Not necessarily. A delay could mean a couple of things. Maybe you aren't quite ready to receive it yet, or maybe the external circumstances just haven't perfectly aligned for the best possible outcome.
Okay, so instead of getting frustrated or giving up,
The focus should be on cultivating patience, trust, and just keeping up with those positive affirmations, staying consistent.
consistency and trust.
Exactly. There's a great story she tells about a woman looking for the perfect home.
Oh, right. She searched and searched, got really frustrated.
Totally frustrated. But then she finally just let go. She surrendered to divine timing, kept affirming that her perfect home was already hers in spirit.
And then what happened?
A completely unexpected opportunity popped up, out of the blue, and it was exactly the home she'd been envisioning.
Wow. That really highlights releasing that need to control the when and how, doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
Which leads us perfectly into the next key idea, the importance of letting go.
Letting go.
Why?
Seems a bit paradoxical, maybe. You have to affirm and believe, but then let go.
It can feel that way, but what's important is when you let go, Shin isn't saying be passive. You absolutely do the initial work. Clarify your desire, build your belief, affirm it, feel it.
Okay, so you do that first.
Yes. The letting go part comes after that. It's about releasing the anxiety, the need to micromanage how it all unfolds.
So letting go of the anxious worrying about it?
Precisely. That desperate need to control every little detail can actually create resistance. It can block the flow.
So letting go isn't giving up on the desire itself.
Not at all. It's trusting. Trusting that the universe or life or divine intelligence, whatever term resonates, will bring it about in the best way possible, even if that way looks different than you imagined.
Like with the job search example again. You affirm, visualize, send the resume.
And then you step back. You trust the process. You release that tight grip of needing that specific job right now.
And that actually opens the door.
To potentially surprising, maybe even better, opportunities that you couldn't have foreseen while you were busy trying to force one specific outcome.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. Okay, now Shinn also talks about something maybe a bit unexpected in this context. Generosity.
Yes, the law of generosity. And she presents it not just as, being a nice person.
But as a fundamental principle for prosperity.
Exactly. It's a law in her view, a law governing the flow of abundance. When you give freely, joyfully, without fear of lack,
Without worrying you won't have enough left.
right, when you give from that place, you activate this universal principle of return. Abundance flows back to you, often in unexpected ways, and usually multiplied.
So it's the total opposite of a scarcity mindset.
Absolutely, that scarcity mindset where you're clinging tightly to what you have, fearing there isn't enough.
That actually attracts more scarcity.
That's her point. You're broadcasting lack. Conversely, someone operating from abundance, giving freely, trusting their needs are always met. They tend to experience this continuous flow towards them.
So cultivating generosity actually aligned you with prosperity.
According to Shinn, yes. It puts you in harmony with that natural flow. It's a really powerful idea.
It really is. Okay, one last key area she covers. Forgiveness.
Yes, crucial. Holding on to old grudges, resentments. We know it's not good for our emotional health, right?
For sure. It weighs you down.
But Shinn specifically links it to blocking prosperity and happiness too.
How so? What's the connection she makes?
Well, the key thing is that forgiveness for Shinn isn't about saying what someone did was okay. It's not about condoning anything.
Right, it's not about letting them off the hook necessarily.
No, it's about releasing your emotional ties to that hurt. Severing those negative bonds that keep you stuck in the past, replaying the negativity. It's about freeing yourself.
So letting go of the bitterness is really for our own benefit.
Primarily, yes. You're freeing up your own energy. You're clearing out mental and emotional space that was being occupied by negativity.
And that cleared space allows positive things to come in.
Exactly. Forgiveness removes that internal resistance, that emotional clutter. It opens your heart and mind to receive new opportunities, more joy, more abundance. You liberate yourself from the past to fully embrace the now.
Wow. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. To kind of wrap things up, what are the absolute core takeaways? If someone remembers just a few things from Shinn's teachings, what should they be?
Well, I think fundamentally it's about empowerment. Recognize that your thoughts and words have real creative power.
Choose them wisely.
Choose them wisely, intentionally. Cultivate unwavering faith, that active trust in what you desire. Use affirmations, but use them with real feeling to impress your subconscious.
Don't just say them, feel them.
Feel them. And actively replace fear. When it comes up, swap it for positive expectations, positive pictures in your mind.
Redirect that energy.
Redirect it. Trust in divine timing. Things unfold perfectly. Learn to let go of the anxious need to control outcomes.
After you've done your part.
After you've done your part, yes. Embrace generosity as a law of abundance. And finally, practice forgiveness. Not for them, but for you to clear the path.
Some incredibly powerful ideas to really take on board. It makes you think, doesn't it, considering all of this?
Yeah.
Maybe what's one thought, or perhaps even just one word, that you, listening right now, might choose to consciously shift this week, just to start playing this game of life a bit more consciously?
That's a great question to ponder.
Definitely something worth exploring.